Hey, Dragon Slayers. It's been about an hour and a half since my last meal. Blood sugar's 84. My last meal was like half a pound of chicken breast. I had a quarter of a chicken quesadilla. And then I had like two tortilla chips with some like queso on the end of it. I went to a friend's house and that's what they had out. So I took a little nibble. It was delicious. So today's video is great. I'm really excited about this topic. It's the pros and cons of every modern diet. It's really dense, so I'm going to go through this as quickly as I can. Every diet that offers long term success will somehow allow for increased satiety when eating intuitively. This always involves a higher nutrient density and always involves a higher protein to energy ratio. However, while every diet can be properly formulated to yield success, it is also possible to formulate a diet poorly and fail to get results. Paying attention to protein to energy ratio allows success with almost every approach. All successful diets either reduce carbohydrate quantity, reduce fat quantity, increase protein percentage, or some combination of all three. In other words, all successful diets are following the protein to energy approach, even if they are unaware of it. Most successful diets are also somehow reducing the combination of carbs and fats together. So every diet with long term success is doing one or two of those things or both. So it's increasing the protein to energy ratio and it's avoiding carbs and fats together. So let's examine each of the popular diets and what they get right and what they get wrong. So, first up is the low fat diet. What they get right is that fat is calorically dense, and reducing fat will generally increase the protein to energy ratio. What they often get wrong is that in natural foods, fat tends to come along with protein. If your quest for reduction in fats leads to a lower protein diet, the results could be increased hunger and decreased satiety. For example, breakfast cereal with low fat milk. Not a good food to eat. The low carb diet. What they get right is that carbs are massively overeaten in our society and lead to a ton of protein dilution. Reducing carbs will almost always increase the protein to energy ratio of any diet. What they often get wrong is that going out of your way to eat fat instead could fail to increase the protein percentage. Example would be butter chugging keto dieters. I used to be one of them. So the next diet to examine is the low calorie diet. So what they get right is reducing calories almost always involves a reduction in both carbs and fats. If well formulated, the result is a higher protein to energy ratio and successful weight loss. What they often get wrong is that if you mistakenly restrict protein and increase carbohydrates, the result could be increased hunger and diet failure. For example, eating rice cakes and other diet foods, but simply reducing calories. The paleo diet. So, what they get right is that Paleolithic eating skips a lot of the refined and added carbs and fats that come along with both agriculture and the Industrial Revolution. Typically, just skipping the sugar and flour in the modern diet yields to a huge upgrade in the protein to energy ratio. What they often get wrong is that a smoothie with dates and honey and bananas would be paleo and would also contain about 100 grams of straight sugar with almost zero protein. So, the plant based diet. What they get right is that eating more legumes such as lentils and soy, plus more green vegetables, is a massive upgrade in terms of the protein to energy ratio. Tofu, textured vegetable proteins, gluten, and all of the plant protein fake meats and vegan that vegans eat, while far from optimal, actually have an extremely high protein to energy ratio, especially compared to the standard American diet. If you ditch the refined carbs in vegan food diets, you will get some pretty amazing results with this highly restrictive plan. What they often get wrong is that the phrase junk food vegan diet. Highly processed fake vegan foods can be some of the worst protein to energy foods on the planet. The carnivore diet. What they get right is that because animal foods in general always are higher in protein to energy ratio compared to plant foods, this is pretty much an instant win for the average person. What they often get wrong is that processed meats such as bacon, hot dogs, sausages can have much higher fat grams than protein grams, and it is possible to gain weight on such a diet if you go as far as to use high fat dairy, butter, and heavy cream on a carnivore foods. You're probably going nowhere. That is 100% me. That completely explains why I did not lose any weight at all on carnivore, because I ate a ton of fatty meats. And finally, we've got the bodybuilders. What they get right is that all bodybuilders are really combining low carb and low fat and high protein, typically to the very highest levels of success. This is essentially what I'm doing right now. What they often get wrong is if you ignore the diet quality and the nutrient density and simply use if it fits your macros, you basically eat toaster pastries and force yourself to greatly limit the quantity. You will be starving and your body will fight back hard. So there you go, guys. I think this was an excellent breakdown that Ted did of all the diets, where they go wrong, where they go right, and how to avoid some pitfalls. It's all about the protein to energy ratio. That's what we need to focus on, and that's what I have for you guys today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember that together, you and I will slay the dreaded diabetes dragon.